I'll start with a few corporate slides, and then we'll try to move on to the biorefinery aspect of Algaia and its strategic vision, basically. Next slide. So it all started with a vision to be the leading solution provider for a natural specialty marine ingredient. And from this vision, defined all the strategy of Algaia and the subsequent missions to offer sustainably produced natural seaweed extract. In order to do so, we need to have the right people and the list of capabilities. We have highly skilled personnel here. We have quite a few PhDs in our R&D team. And actually, the R&D is at the DNA of this company. Next slide. Next slide. Sorry, I'll go quickly through it because I have loads of slides and I need to get it into the correct amount of time. A few numbers about Algaia. We are about 20 million euros of sale in 2020. For 2021, it's going to be around 22 million, I suppose, and roughly around 90 to 100 employees. Today, we process about 40,000 tons of seaweed per year, which makes us the largest seaweed manufacturer in France. We have about 18% of our staff in R&D, which is way above the average of the sector. And we run approximately about 15 projects per year, which includes European projects, national and regional projects. We have about 200 customers with a high satisfaction level, and we are shipping to over 50 countries. Next slide, please. Now, a few milestones at Algaia, because we are still a young company. We started in 2016 with the fusion of two companies, Algae, which I co-created with Jérémy Brébion and Frank Ennekart. We met in NYG, actually, and made the move back to France afterwards. So there was a conjunction of two companies, Algae and Eviagenics, with strong research base, but with a need to move from, for Eviagenics, to move from the certain type of biotechnology on yeast towards seaweed extract. So we quickly had the opportunity to move to Saint-Lô in Normandy and build an R&D center. That was very quick. We built the labs in 3 months, quickly moved in, and very soon we had the opportunity to buy the factory from Cargill, which was producing alginate. It's a texturant for the food industry, basically. And this came only with the factory, and we needed to develop all the commercial aspects and everything that goes around the factory to make a proper company out of it. So in 2018, we were busy setting up a worldwide distribution network and to expand in the food and cosmetic industry and basically diversify our client portfolio and make sure we had a secure base of clients. The year of 2019 was the beginning of the biorefinery concept, where we started not only to produce alginate, which is in the end it's a dry powder, it's a texturant, but we also started to produce some liquid biostimulant for the agricultural business. Okay. In 2020, we had a new CEO in the name of Frédéric Faure. He was previously the business developer at Algaia, and he had like a lot of experience in setting up factories around the world for his previous job at Cargill. So he is definitely instrumental in pushing up the production and the factory in Lamilis in Brittany. Now, the last year and the coming years, we are implementing and scaling up the biorefinery concept, which I will talk about in the next few slides. And we are also implementing our the company social responsibility. This is our portfolio. So we sell carrageenan, which are red seaweed extracts from our partner Gelimar in Chile. We distribute it for Europe. We produce our own alginate in Brittany. We have about 70 different types of alginate in several applications that you will see later on. We also have specialty seaweed extracts, the likes of the biosteel, the liquid biostimulant, but also fucoidans, laminarans at a much smaller scale. But we also offer tailor-made solution that's mainly for the texturizing industry and the food industry, but also for the cosmetic applications. We offer also our R&D service to any of the companies that need to develop products from seaweed. We have a large analytical capacity and application capacity as well here. Next slide. Well, next. So those are mainly the markets that we are active. For example, the vegan food or the meat and seafood market, where we would sell some fat analog or the casing for the sausages. We also provide some texturizing solution for the sauces, for the bakery. For the medical device, you probably know some of the plasters that you can apply are actually made of alginate fibers. For dental printing, you find it also in the encapsulation business, in the feed supplement, but also in the pet food and feed markets, with some need for the regulatory framework. There, I will talk a little bit about it later on. But also in the biostimulant and soil amendment. Next. Our factory, is based very close to the shore, about 20 kilometers away, which gives us great access to different harbors in Brittany. It's the equivalent of the size of 8 football pitch. And we process, as I said, 40,000 tons of fresh seaweed per year. This factory is about 50 years old, which also comes with its own challenge. And we are constantly developing our proprietary biorefinery extraction technology there. Okay, next. Our research center in Saint-Lô is where most of the collaborative projects and the developments are made. We have an application lab, we have an extraction lab, an analytical lab, but we also have a pilot facility in which we are able to produce some of the prototypes. And very soon we are going to extend this pilot and make it food grade so that we can actually produce and sell some samples from there. Okay, next slide. We also have some customer back office in Paris, and it's very convenient to deal with our customers as well. Next. Those are the next market, or the current market that we focus on, and that we will put more focus. Next, please. So this talk briefly about the biorefinery concept as we see it. First of all, it starts with a raw material, whether it's seaweed, but it has to end up with a standardized end product with a validated market. It needs to be marketable. Okay, so next. This raw material and the process will generate along the way some solid byproduct or some liquid byproducts, and the idea is to have a strong analytical capacity to be able to spot the bioactives in all the different streams there. So next slide, please. Currently, this is the way it looks like. Our in a very schematic manner. Our brown seaweed leads to about 70 different types of alginates. So this is our champion at the moment. This is where we generate our sales. And slowly we are developing different streams. We have some liquid and solid streams. And we also have some loops where you will see that no, it's the previous slides, please, Fiona. Yeah, the biostimulant, the byproduct, sorry, from this process can also be concentrated and used in the biostimulant liquid lines, because we are able to spot bioactives, the likes of laminarans or fucoidans, that we can increase and standardize for our biostimulant. Next, please. So this is also the way it could look like in the future, because you have to be very flexible and be able to adapt quickly. For example, if biostimulant tomorrow will be the main revenue stream, then alginate becomes a co-product. Okay, so this is to keep in mind that you have to be flexible with your process and with your vision, basically. Next. Some of the key questions regarding the biorefinery. The first one is that to make sure that your raw material is sustainable. Next slide. In France, we operate under very strict regulation. You know that we are very fond of regulations with a big administrative background. And you can see in the map there, those are all the areas that are allowed for seaweed harvesting. It's slightly different than in Ireland, because mechanical harvesting is allowed for about 32 boats, and they are equipped with GPS tracking, and there are quotas for and time of the year where you can harvest. Okay, next slide. You need one important thing, and we mentioned it before, and I think I can see that also a lot in Andrew's presentation, is you need a main product to create cash. So next slide. This is typically the pyramid of value that where you can actually place your different products. Next. Our alginates are located in the mid value, because we are around more or less around 10 euro per kilo, even though this value is growing, and we are trying to change our client portfolio so that the value goes up. We also look at the biostimulants we have, which have a higher value and a higher margin, and also a higher yearly growth. So this is very important to when you're developing a new line from the side stream. And to look at the next bioactives, we collaborate with different entities in Europe, and we have several European projects in place, the likes of Genialg, Spiralg, and recently Algae for IBD, with different value levels. Okay. Next slide. The technical feasibility needs to be spot on. I won't go much into detail here, but we'll go to the key points in the economical feasibility, and also Andrew touched a bit about that. You need to have the right market price, the positioning. You mentioned the competition with the IP rights. You need to secure the capex involved in terms of space, of equipment to secure your process. Next, secure also your production cost, and this is becoming increasingly difficult in this environment where costs are going up. You need to keep your market share potential intact, whether it's geographical or depending on the regulation. Also, one of the key aspects is the growth potential of your products. Next. And one thing that is crucial is to have the regulatory freedom to operate. And for this, you need some certification. And you have to be aware that certification can take a very long time, up to 1 year to obtain, in our case. So we are ISO certified, FDA approved. We have EcoCert as well for our biostimulant line, FAMIQS, so that we can play in the different fields where we can place our products. Even though we also need to push some of the certification. For example, the alginates are today they're only allowed in the feed industry for the aquaculture, and one of the next push is to have it certified for feed also. Next slide. We'll finish on the future challenges of Algaia. Basically, is to secure sourcing. This is moving a lot in France, but also Northwest Europe. But I'm looking at Ireland there and Norway also. One key aspect is to secure the qualified personnel for the future, and I especially appreciated the presentation from Nofima there, because it's highly important for the future. We need to secure the production cost in a fast evolving environment, and to also in order to move to the next step is the big step is the industrial process transformation for us. We mentioned the regulatory framework, novel food and alginate for feed application. And one of the keys also to keep innovating. This is a constant challenge. Thanks, Emilian.